Insight Literacy presents Writing for an Academic Audience. Who is your reader? A stuffy old professor who likes fancy words and perfect comma placement. Seriously, though, your reader expects semi-professional level work that is written using an academic tone and language. As a student, you're not expected to write perfect or like a professional, but you should always be striving to write professionally as possible. What does it mean to write for an academic audience? Well, you need to use a formal tone, academic language. You must have a thesis statement in all academic papers. You need to have topic sentences with a strong line of reasoning. You should have a logical flow of ideas with supporting evidence. And of course, you need to use clear and precise sentences and word choice. Formal tone. This is the writer's voice. The writer's voice is objective, scholarly, and their ideas are backed by evidence. The writer avoids using generalizations like always or never, biased adjectives, obviously, adverbs like really or very, or what I like to call those ly words, qualifiers, a little, a lot, emotional language, heartbreaking, tragic. Informal writing is casual. Examples of informal writing: a text or an email to a friend, a love letter, or a story. Formal writing examples might be an email to a potential employer, a letter to a senator, or a research essay. Notice that your tone is going to be different in informal writing versus formal writing. Here is an example of informal tone. There are hundreds of different Cinderella versions out there. Most people have at least seen the Disney movie, so it's also the most well-known fairy tale. Now, there's nothing wrong with this sentence, and it would be great for maybe a blog post. Notice how it's a contraction is being used, which makes it even a little more informal. It just has a more informal, casual, laid-back tone. Now let's look at a formal example. Disney's version of Cinderella is the most well-known fairy tale in modern society. However, there are hundreds of variations dated as far back as 7 BC. So you have a little more formal tone in the writing itself. That's the difference. Just notice the difference between informal and formal. You're aiming for formal. Academic language. Academic writers need to use discipline-specific vocabulary and rhetorical devices in their papers. This means choosing the best content words to help the reader visualize and understand your message. So do this. Beauty and the Beast is categorized by Arne Thompson Uther Folktale Classification System as an animal tale, ATU 425C. Not that. People who study folktales put Beauty and the Beast into the animal tales category. There's nothing wrong with a not that sentence, but it's less formal, doesn't really use the academic language you need to explain what this classification system is or the name of it. Notice in the first sentence, we even add the classification system for Beauty and the Beast. Your thesis statement must be included. All academic papers have to include a thesis statement. A thesis statement is one or two sentences that tells the reader exactly what you intend to claim or argue in your paper. The thesis statement is the foundation of your paper. Every sentence is written in support of the thesis. A thesis statement typically appears at or towards the end of the introduction for the paper. You also need topic sentences with a strong line of reasoning. Each paragraph should begin with a topic sentence that makes a point which supports the thesis statement. When you read the thesis statement and each of the topic sentences in order, they should all make sense. They should be logical. They should flow together. Try to order from most important to least important because they need to make up a strong line of reasoning. You also need a logical flow of ideas with supporting evidence. Your thesis statement is the entire point of your paper. It tells the reader exactly what you intend to claim or argue. All of your points should support your thesis statement and be placed in a logical order. Your paper begins with an introduction to the topic. Your thesis statement is going to be at the end of your introduction. Your goal is to gain the interest of your reader and to firmly state your claim in the form of a thesis statement. I hope I've made my point clear that your thesis statement is very important to your paper. Most professors will not even grade your paper without the thesis statement, or they will give you a 0 if you do not have it. You should include 1 or 2 quotes or paraphrased sentences from your literary text, your facts, your data, or your expert opinion to support your point and thesis statement. Select evidence that strongly supports your thinking. You need to have evidence in each paragraph, but what you don't want to do is just have a paragraph of evidence. So if you're doing a literature-based research paper, then you might have 1 to 3 quotes from the literary text, and then 1 quote or paraphrase sentence from your expert opinion. If you're writing a different type of paper, then you're probably only going to have 1 or 2 quotes or paraphrase sentences from your expert opinion. You do not want a whole bunch. Most of the writing should be your words, your ideas, your perspective, your thoughts, but you do need to have evidence in each paragraph. The conclusion ties your points together with your thesis statement. You also need to use clear and precise sentences and word choice. Avoid writing sentences with too many words. This is what we call wordiness. Remove unnecessary words so that your writing is not awkward and unclear. You don't want too many glue words. Those are the little bitty words that glue your content words together, and you don't want to repeat words or even words that are similar to other words in the same sentence. Choose your words carefully. Use the best word to make your message clear. Avoid vague words that do not say anything. So vague words are words like stuff, fun, really, very. What does that mean? Crack those words open. Show us an image. Choose meaningful academic words, but don't pack your sentences with fancy academic words or jargon just because. You want to choose the right word, but you don't want to just throw in a bunch of words because it sounds fancy or it sounds like you have a big vocabulary. Quick recap. When you write for an academic audience, use a formal tone, academic language. Absolutely 100% make sure you have that thesis statement. Put it at the end of your introduction. It should just be 1 sharp sentence that tells the reader exactly what you're going to claim. Make sure your topic sentences have a strong line of reasoning. Make sure you have a logical flow of ideas. You must have supporting evidence in every paragraph. And then use clear and precise sentences and word choice.